Now let's talk about the way we act with our money. And that leads to the next reason that I think Americans struggle so much. Our spending doesn't align with our goals.
Yeah, it's so funny. We will say all the time, okay, I've got this plan. I know what I want to accomplish, and yet I don't do it. The very thing I want to do, I don't do. The very thing I don't want to do, I do. We know that in 2024, 2 of the top financial resolutions were, number 1, save more money, number 2, pay down debt. And yet still we live in this place where Americans year over year, month over month, they're not actually moving forward towards these goals.
That's a noble goal, thinking saving more money. But here's what I know, and you can pretty much count on the trains arriving in the station on the same clocks, because 60% of Americans next year will also not have
every year
$1,000. So this New Year's resolutions are going to come and go. And you can create a plan, or you can have it be intentional that you're going to save more money. But if you don't actually create action, what good was the plan? If you need proof of this, think about 84% of people who create a budget, they exceed the budget regularly. What good is that?
What was the point of even doing it? The reason that you have a budget in place is to give you guardrails, is to give you rules, is to give you guidelines. Well, if you're setting the budget, you're not sticking to it, all you're doing is wasting your time. You're not actually moving forward towards your goals. So what can you do? How can you do it better? How can you set yourself up for success? Number 1 is you have to know where your money is going. Do you actually have a clear understanding of where your dollars are going? And I will argue, in the day and age in which we live, it's easier than ever to know this, because now we all have online interfaces. There are apps that can aggregate. Every one of our credit cards, every one of our banks have an online portal where we can see those transactions. If you're not actually tracking and you don't actually understand where your dollars are going, I would argue that you're not doing it well. If you have trouble saving, if you have trouble getting out of debt, if you have trouble paying down debt, step 1 is to triage and assess, where are my dollars going and how can I improve where they're going to better point them towards my goals.
And also, don't be scared to change direction. I mean, because look, the stats show 27% of Americans run up debt for travel expenses. The third of Americans go into debt because of holiday spending.
That's not the stuff you ought to be doing.
So if you know where your money's going, it's one thing to see it in the app that you did it on, to go on a trip you shouldn't have gone on, or to buy gifts for people that you couldn't afford to buy gifts for, or do it in a way, maybe you went too big on the gifts. I'm not saying don't be generous, but know where the money's going and don't be scared to change. And here's a way, because that's what can you do to make the good habits as easy as possible and the bad habits as hard as possible? If you don't have a lot of discipline, a way you can make the good habits easy, automate as much of your life as possible. If you can set up automatic investment plans, let those army of dollars actually go to places that are going to build wealth automatically. It's going to make that money that much harder to go into bad stuff, and it's going to force the money into the good habits that actually create wealth.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I have figured out, and one of the things that I help some younger people or some people earlier on their journey figure out, is I really want to automate the positive things. I want to automate my saving. I want to automate my investing. I want to automate those sort of things. You don't want to not automate. I do not want to automate my spending. So I encourage people, hey, don't sign up to have the credit cards auto pay. Don't sign up to have the utilities auto pay. Don't sign up to have the subscriptions go through. I want you every month, every week, every year, whatever it is, I want you to physically feel the pain of spending those dollars. And if you can feel the pain of that, it will rewire the way your brain processes consumption. Just like Brian said, make the good goals easy, make the hard goals hard, and you're going to set yourself up for success. I butchered your statement right there.
That's all right. I knew where you were going with it, and as long as people understand what we're trying to do with the habits. And that also leads to, I think there is a struggle where people know that there is a difference between being a financial mutant and being a financial miser. I'm not asking you. I know this journey to building wealth will take time. I mean, it's going to probably take you a decade and a half to really create some tremendous success. But that doesn't mean that I want you to lock up into the 4 walls and not come out for that 15 years. I want you to bedazzle your basic life. I still want you going on vacation. I still want you, making memories with your family, eating out with each other or eating at home with each other. You don't have to spend a lot of money to create blossoming memories.
What I think is great, and this is why we love our Financial Mutant community, we reach out to you guys and say, hey, give us some ideas. What are some ways that you bedazzle your basic life? What are some things that you figured out that don't cost a lot of money? Listen to these, and these are great ideas that you can do. Have potlucks at home with friends instead of going out. That's great.
I like that.
Take road trips and hiking for cheap vacations. You don't have to go to the luxury places. Do simple do-it-yourself projects to improve your home on a budget. Do it yourself instead of paying someone else. Find cheaper forms of entertainment. Minor league baseball games instead of major league baseball games. Go to the local college sporting events instead of the professional sporting events. And then when it comes time for gift giving, Christmas, holidays, birthdays, why don't we make the gifts instead of buying gifts? All of these things are great ways to bedazzle your basic life while still making sure to stay within your budget and be able to focus on what your ultimate long-term goals are.